The Property Entrepreneur Blueprint. 20 plus years in the making and 10 plus years in the training, going into our 11th year as being the UK's highest rated business and property training program. But what actually is it? In this episode, I'm going to take you through the 3-day blueprint event that we host once a year. It's been oversubscribed every year since 2013, and there's only 150 places available. But why should you consider it? Who's it for? How does it work? And what do you actually learn? Why would you want to spend 3 days learning a blueprint when there's so much information out there for free across social media and the internet? Well, in this episode, I'm going to take you through the blueprint. I'm going to take you through the 3 levels, the 4 seasons, and the 5 problems that you need to overcome if you want to work on your business rather than in it. If you want to be able to focus on your wealth, your health, your life by design, and if you want to get to a point where you genuinely enjoy what you do, you work less, you earn more, and you have confidence that you're genuinely on your way to both generational wealth and financial independence. There's only one blueprint. This is what it is, and this is how it works. So many of you have listened to this podcast for many years, and you'll know that over 200 episodes and being in the top 5% of podcasts around the world, we don't hold any punches. We give maximum value, and every time I jump on the microphone, whether it's riding solo or with a guest, I want to give you the highest value that I can. In this episode, I'm going to take you through the Blueprint 3-day event, which we host, which takes you through in chronological order what you need to do, when you need to do it, and how you do it end to end. Having been delivering this over the last 11 years, this is our 11th year of going into the Blueprint 3-day Blueprint events. It's our 12th year of going into the next round of the program in October. We have picked up many accolades. We've been rated by MPS, scoring the world-class status of the highest rated business and property program in the UK. We have been oversubscribed every year since 2013. The small snippets of the blueprints that you get for free on these podcasts have been both rated in the top 10 for the last 3 years in all property podcasts in the country, and top 5% of all podcasts in all categories around the world by the amount of monthly downloads. And what we do on the 3-day event is we take you through all of the blueprints that we have, start to finish. So in 1 hour on the podcast, you might hear one blueprint. Across the 3 days, we go through the best part of 50 in order through 5 categories over 3 days, while spending the time in the community and network of the UK's highest value network and community. So what do we actually cover? Well, the concept here is all about understanding what to do and how to do it. So if you wanted to bake the world's most complicated dessert, the flaming baked Alaska, you would be unlikely to succeed unless you had the recipe and somebody standing over your shoulder who's done it. Well, the blueprint I've been using for 20 years. I've been teaching it for over a decade, and all of our hosts, coaches and mentors have used it to achieve financial independence, to step out of their business, work on it rather than in it, and many of them actually sell their businesses and retire with financial independence. The blueprint takes you start to finish through the steps that they've taken to execute these blueprints, and regardless of where you are, how you can do the same. Whilst everybody on the Blueprint 3-day event will be at different levels of their journey, they use exactly the same blueprint. And whether people are using it for the first time or like me using it for the 22nd time, it's exactly the same blueprint. It's just used at another time, another stage in your journey, and another level as you progress with your business. The people that we're looking for to join the Blueprint event are people who actually want to work on their business rather than in it. And what we would say for the 3-day Blueprint event is that you need to have a minimum of 1 year experience in property and business, and you want to move outside of being a solopreneur. So if you're already active, running the business, and you are the business, you're answering the phone, you're paying the invoices, you're managing the refurbs, and you're talking to trades, this is probably not for you. This is for people who don't want to talk to tenants, and not because they're rude or they're arrogant or they don't look after their clients, because they appreciate that in order for their tenants to have world-class service, they need to make sure that they're not the ones talking to them. And the event is actually called Don't Talk to Tenants, www.don'ttalktotenants.co.uk. And it shows you how to go from being a landlord and a busy, burnt-out investor into becoming a new age property entrepreneur who is a high net wealth, 7-figure asset base, six-figure income, and works on the business rather than in it. And this really is the focus to go from being a startup, scale-up, noisy, busy, scale-up entrepreneur to being somebody who works on the business rather than in it and focuses on strategy, systems, finance, team, and sales and marketing rather than tenants, trades, contractors, agents, and solicitors. And if you want to make this shift, then this may well be for you. I do have a guest list. There's only a certain amount of people that we can allow on it. But if you meet certain criteria, you can apply to join it to get a significant discount and bring a guest for free. If you're interested and you're currently, you have over a year's experience in business and property, and you have the aspiration and the time to focus on this full time, and you want to achieve a seven-figure net wealth and a six-figure income from that, if you message me on any of my social media platforms with the word podcast VIP, your email address and your phone number, what we'll do is we'll send you an application to apply to join the VIP guest list. Send that through on any of my social media channels, and we'll see if we can get you on as one of my VIPs on this year's private guest list. The blueprint that we take you through on this event, so it's 3 days. It starts at 10 a.m. It finishes at 4 over 3 days. It's a very immersive experience. The blueprint takes you start to finish through a whole 12-month cycle in only 3 days. And whether you do this virtually with us or you do it online in the room, you will go through a blueprint sheet for each of the 5 focus areas. The blueprint's built up with 3 considerations. So the first is the 3 levels, the second is the 4 seasons, and the third is the 5 problems. The 3 levels is the levels that you'll go through as a property entrepreneur. So when you start out, and this may be where many of you are now, you're at what we call landlord level. You're doing your first few deals, you're getting the wheels going, but you're doing the viewings, you're doing the maintenance, you're checking the rents, you literally are the business. The next level up after that is the investor level. And the investor level is where you start to understand that you got into this to be an entrepreneur, to own a business. And the key word there is to own a business, not to be a landlord or be on the phone to tenants or operate a business. And what we want to do here is use 2 things. At level 2, we use a team and we use systems to leverage you out of the business. And the aim of the game here is that whether you want to be part of a small, lucrative team or you want to move up to the scale-up phase where you want to grow up aggressively into the 7, 8, or even 9 figures, the 2 things that we use to leverage our value, which is what got you started, is team and systems, which will buy you back the time you need to take this to the next level. And that's where we focus at this lifestyle level, where we want to get you to a 7-figure net wealth and a 6-figure income. And then the third level is actually when you start to achieve financial independence, you move up into making high 6, if not multiple 7-figure profits a year. At the entrepreneur level, you have multiple teams, you have multiple streams, but you're very highly leveraged. You may well just work from a laptop. You have teams all around the world, but you genuinely are a 7-figure, high net worth individual, and you're making a consistent 6, if not 7-figure profit a year from a business that's doing a minimum of 20%, ideally 30 to 40% net profit year on year. So they're the 3 levels that the blueprint will take you through. There is more information about this on the website, www.don'ttalktotenants.co.uk. And they're the 3 levels that we're going to take you through. I'm not going to explain it in this video, but if you go to the Don't Talk to Tenants website and download a copy of the prospectus, which can be posted to you or emailed, it will take you through this in detail, and it will show you the pros and cons of each level, the risks and rewards as you move through the gears. But the main thing to understand to move through the levels is, you've heard me talk about this previously, that businesses don't grow in a linear fashion. A business won't grow and grow and grow like a piece of elastic. If you stretch it and stretch it and stretch it, eventually it'll snap. And you may have had this experience in your business. So what we do is we stretch it comfortably, till we're putting some pressure on it, grow, 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 stretch, stretch, stretch. But then what we do is we actually start to repair the elastic. We regroup, we repair it. And then when we stretch it again, it can go even further. And that's called a step change. A linear fashion would be growing it until it snaps. Step change is grow, regroup, repair, and then stretch again. And this is what we call growing by step changes, not in a linear fashion, but in a cyclical fashion, in a cyclical nature. And this is where the next part, the 4 seasons, comes in. So the 3 levels are what we move through, the 4 seasons are how we get there. And the same as the natural world, we go through the 4 seasons. So we have the autumn, the winter, the spring, and the summer. And we use our property businesses in exactly the same circle. You'll probably be aware that the spring and the summer market is far more active than the autumn and winter market in the property space, because the days are long, weather's good, the school holidays, people feel optimistic in the spring and summer, whereas in the winter the days are short, energy levels are low, there isn't much time, there's not a huge amount of drive to be flying out your house and packing your bags and moving house in the colds of November, December, January. But there's not to say there's not to be deals to be done. The aim of the game is to move the business in a cyclical nature. So the natural world works in a cyclical nature. The only way that trees can grow is they grow and grow and grow in the summer. Then the autumn comes and the growth goes from the top of the trees, all the leaves fall off down to the ground, and then that energy goes into the soil, and actually all that lessons and learning and what was previously fruit at the top of the tree has now fallen to the ground and gone back into the soil. It's renewed, it's refreshed, and then the winter comes and actually freezes over and no growth happens. Any activity that happens at all is way below the ground and you can't even see it. It doesn't even come above ground. The spring, the spring comes, the ground thaws out, and then what you see is all those seeds that have been frozen under the ground actually start to sprout, and we get these new little growths, little sprouts of spring coming up, and these little plants that are coming up, these little seedlings of growth coming up as the spring enters. And then the summer, those little small shoots come out and they turn into plants. The trees come back into full growth and bloom. And this is how nature works, and it's how your business works. In the summer, the days are long. You're going to go out and do loads of deals. You're going to grow. You're going to expand. You're going to buy property. You're going to do deals. You're going to buy other companies. And you're going to rapidly expand. But in the autumn, you're going to slow down. And what we do in our business is we've done the growth. The tree's grown as far as it can. And we put the car, which has been racing around the track on full steam, that's running out of fuel. The tyres are shredded. The steam coming out of the engine. We stick the business on cruise control. And what we do is we just put the business on cruise control. We don't stop it, but we listen to the engine. We listen to what's broken. We think about what race we want to run next year. What went well this year? What didn't go well? What do we want to do next year? And we get quite introspective. We put the business on cruise control. We listen to ourselves and our companies and decide strategically what we want next year. Because what happens then is the winter comes and it freezes the ground over. And when the ground's freezed over, there's no opportunity to race. It would be dangerous to go out racing. And what we do is we actually pull the car into the hard shoulder. And while those seeds under the ground are just sitting there getting ready to go next year, we do the same with the car. We actually don't race the car like most entrepreneurs would. Keep racing it and racing it and racing it. Get burnt out, more broken, more holes in the bucket and the thing falling to pieces. We actually pull it into the hard pit stop. We lift the bonnet and we work on it rather than racing in it. We change the engine. We fill it up with fuel. We change the tyres. We remodel the bodywork. We give it a new aerodynamic bumper or skirter set. We put a new spoiler on, which we think will make us go faster next year. Maybe we even get a new driver or a new co-pilot to take us around the track. The winter, we're in the pit stop. We're working under the bonnet. We're getting the car ready to race. And then what happens in the spring is we go out and we warm the tyres. Those of you that are into F1, into racing, the pit stop opens, they're out on the track, but you're warming the tyres. You don't go all guns blazing straight away. You warm it up, you test it, you trial it, you fix anything that wasn't fixed properly. And the new team members, the new racers, the new co-pilots, the new team members, they get trained, they get onboarded, they learn the ropes, they get ready to race. And then as soon as the tyres are warmed in the spring, we start to speed up. We head towards the summer. We work our way through the ranks. We get ready for championship season. And then we race and we race and we race. And through spring and summer, we warm the tyres, we speed up, we go and we grow. We grow the business. We expand the company. We might do what most companies would do in 12 months. We might do it in 3 months because we've repaired the elastic and then we've stretched it again. And you do this cycle over enough months, enough quarters, enough years, you will become one of the UK's leading businesses, one of the UK's award-winning entrepreneurs, one of the companies that seems to come out of nowhere and dominate markets, become market leaders, own the market share. Because you've done this strategy, you've used the blueprint, you've gone through the 4 cycles, repaired the business, and taken it out to race. To enable you to do this, and this is the same blueprint I've used for over 20 years, I've taught it for over a decade. At don'ttalktotenants.co.uk, you can see how this works in detail before you come and join us at one of this year's 3-day events. And what you'll realise is that to go through those 3 levels and around the 4 seasons, there's only actually 5 problems you need to overcome. I've mentored hundreds of businesses. I've started, systemised, scaled, owned and sold at over 40 businesses. And every single company I look at and I've seen in my whole life doing this, they only ever have 5 problems. And all you've got to do is overcome these 5 problems to get through the 3 levels, to get round the 4 seasons. You only have to overcome 5 problems each year. And in the autumn, after the summer, the cruise control is all about strategy, because most entrepreneurs have a lack of clarity. And if you don't know exactly what's going on in your business, so your business model, your commercial balance, your strategic positioning, your competitive edge, your market life cycle, your industry niche, if you don't know with absolute clarity what you're doing in the next 5 years, 3 years, 12 months, how you're going to do it, how the business is structured, all that intricate detail, you have a lack of clarity. And the way to overcome that is with strategy. And we spend 12 weeks doing that during autumn. So that's the first problem you've got to overcome, a lack of clarity. The second is a lack of systems. Most entrepreneurs are running around building businesses that don't make money because it's not actually, in many cases, actually a business. It's just a really hard working twice as much for half as much, stressful, overworked, underpaid, self-employed job. And the reality is that's because it's not actually systemized. If you don't have a blueprint, you don't have a business, and systems is the secret to this. We need to build the map to your business. If you couldn't go on holiday for a month and anybody could run any part of your business by using the map to the business, you don't actually have a business. You just have a really demanding, overworked, underpaid job. So the second problem is a lack of systems. And what we need to do is get the map to the business, the methodology, the assets, the people, the performance, get all of that formalized. That's the second system. If you seriously want to build your business for scale or sale, you need to have systems. And most people don't have systems. They have a lack of systems. That's the second problem you need to overcome. The third is finance. And it doesn't matter how well you think you're doing, I guarantee you, unless you have a solid finance plan in place, which includes your business model, it includes your 12-month forecast, it includes your commercial balance, your sweet spots, understanding your markups and your margins. Unless you have a solid control on both your capital and your cash flow, you will run out of money. And no business in history ever died from a lack of profit. Like, no businesses ever died from a lack of profit. They only ever died from a lack of cash. And the two things you need here is capital and cash flow. And unless you have these key financial models in place, your business is constantly at risk. And that's just of surviving. If you're serious about building financial independence and generational wealth, you need all these blueprints in place to have that finance strategy and structure executed, which will be where you move from P&L to balance sheet, from survival to sustainability, and from actually just living off the cash flow and the bank balance to actually building financial independence, 7-figure net wealth, and consistent 6-figure income, never having to worry about money ever again. So the third problem is lack of finance, getting to a point where you're actually working on the business rather than in it, and it's a business that's driven by the finances, and that's the top of the mountain. That's the aim of the game. Living off the steam is the only place you want to get to. The fourth problem is a lack of capacity, and it doesn't matter where you are again in your journey, you're going to get to a point where you run out of time. You would have started off as an excitable property investor who wanted to go out and do deals, and you turn around 12 months later, 2 years later, and the excitement and sex appeal of being a property investor's disappeared. And actually now all you do all day, every day is talk to trades, talk to tenants, paying invoices, dealing with maintenance, checking rents, and the things just become really noisy. What we want to do is systemize the business, get the business model and plan in place, and then use the margins that we find in the business model to then recruit a team. And the team is going to be for one of two reasons. One is going to be bandwidth and capacity, and the second is going to be expertise. You're going to get to a point where there aren't enough hours in the day. That's just capacity. And the second is where you don't have enough expertise. You're going to need a bookkeeper. You're going to need a solicitor. You're going to need a project manager. You're going to need a compliance specialist. You're going to need a property manager, customer service, all of these skill sets. And this is where the lack of capacity comes in. You need to get bandwidth and expertise into your business by building a team. The two things to move out of landlord level are systems and team. And if you don't have those, you genuinely do not have a business. And then the fifth is once you've overcome those, in the autumn, come up with a strategy. In the winter, we did the systems and finance. In the spring, we recruit the team and onboard them. And in the summer, we focus on sales and marketing. 95% of businesses do not make money, and entrepreneurs run around building these companies with all the drive in the world when fundamentally they will never make money. Most entrepreneurs are running around competing on price. Most businesses do not actually just fundamentally make money, but the top 5% is the complete other end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum are charging premium price points. Their rents are higher than anybody else's. Their deal packaging fees are higher than anybody else's. They're charging top fees with maximum margins. And for whatever reason, there's people queuing up to do business with them. We want to get your business to a point where it's charging premium price points, making a minimum of 20% net margin, ideally 30 or 40%. And the last thing you're worried about is making sales. People will queue up to do business with you. You're oversubscribed. They're paying deposits. They're joining waiting lists because you are in the top 5% of your industry. And that is the fifth problem, a lack of leads. That's how the blueprint works. And this is what we'll take you through start to finish. The first day, so it's a 3-day program, and the first day is all about strategy. You will spend a whole day getting clarity on what you want from your life, what you want from your business. In days 2 and 3, we will take you through systems, recruitment, finance, and marketing and sales to show you exactly what you need to do, what blueprint to put in place when, and how it works. And you'll leave with 5 A3 sheets with every single one of those 5 problems blueprinted out that you've done in the room. You'll also have a supporting workbook with every single slide that's been shared over the 3 days and your supporting notes with the worksheets, so you can go away and then execute it in practice. And you'll be doing this within a community and group of some of the highest performing property entrepreneurs in the country. You'll be coached and mentored by people who not only know and understand how to use this, but they've recently successfully executed this in their business. They were sitting where you will be. They were sitting there 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and they've executed it in practice. They've completed it, and they've achieved everything you want to achieve, and they'll be able to take you through it. And by the end of the 3 days, you'll have the blueprint that I've developed over 20 years, been teaching for over a decade, to go away and put into practice in your business. Now, we don't want to sell you something that doesn't work. We've got one of the country's leading property business and property profiles. We've got one of the UK's and world's leading business podcasts. And we've got one of the industry's leading reputations. We've been doing this for over a decade. We've been oversubscribed every year for over a decade. And our courses go up to £40,000 a year. And people have been doing it for 5, 6, 7 years, back to back to back. We don't sell things that don't work. This blueprint on the podcast, on the 3-day blueprint event that's shared on the podcast, you get 100% money back guarantee. If you send me a private message now saying podcast VIP on any of my social media platforms that are all detailed in the show notes, we can look at seeing whether you would qualify for one of our guest list VIP seats. And whether you pay full price or come as one of my VIPs this year, you have 100% money back guarantee. If you get to the second day, halfway through the second day, and whether you join us virtually or in person, you get 1.5 days worth of content and training and blueprints, and you think it's not for you, you don't like it. All you have to do is give us back the blueprints, we'll shake hands, we'll refund you in full there and then, no questions asked, and you can go on your merry way. Having trained thousands of people in this, that is one of the confidence things that gives people the confidence to book on, because they know they've got absolutely nothing to lose. Worst case scenario, they spend a day and a half with some of the UK's leading entrepreneurs, learn loads of stuff, and then halfway through the second day, get all their money back and can go on their merry way. Now, this is not something for beginners. It is not something to waste your time. This is unique, it's proven, and if you've got a minimum of 1 year's experience in business and property, this is the only blueprint that you need. So why come? Well, you're going to come and network with some of the UK's leading property entrepreneurs, mentors and coaches. If you actually want to work on your business rather than in it, this is the only blueprint that you need. If you're genuinely getting to that point now where you want to earn more for what you do, or perhaps you're happy with how much you make and you want to work less, if you want to earn more and work less, this will be for you. If you want to get 100% clarity on what you're doing with your life, what you're doing with your business, what your strategy is, and you just don't want to run on the treadmill for another year, this is the place to be. If you want to focus on wealth creation and actually becoming a high net worth entrepreneur, not just a busy investor, again, this is for you. If you want to know what to do, what deals to do, when to do them, and how they take you through the 3 levels of wealth creation, this is where you'll learn it. If you've already got the revenue and you want to turn that into profit, this is the place to be. And if you want to have 3 days of personal development on things just personal development focused, they can be outside of actual property. They could be wealth focused. Our 3 values are wealth, health, and living a life by design. If those 3 things interest you, this is actually the blueprint you need. This is how you learn it. And all the value you've got for free on our social media and podcasts, this is where you get the whole thing, start to finish, over 3 days, that puts you in that top 5% in the country. So send me a private message now on any of my social media platforms. All of them are listed below in the show notes, saying podcast VIP with your email address and your full name and phone number, and we'll send you the detail to apply to the private guest list. You will need a minimum of 1 year experience in property and looking to move into a 7-figure net wealth and 6-figure income within the next 3 to 5 years. And whether you come as a guest, a VIP guest of mine, or you pay full price on don'ttalktotenants.co.uk, you are all entitled to 100% money back guarantee. This is our 11th year of doing the blueprint. We're about to go into our 12th year of delivering the program, and you have nothing to lose, everything to gain. Go to www.don'ttalktotenants.co.uk now to secure your place at one of 3 dates this year. We only do them once a year. Then our gates will close for another 12 months. Don't be the one that misses the boat. You have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain. We're the UK's highest rated business and property training program for a reason. Following the footsteps of all those that have already done and achieved what you want to achieve, go to www.don'ttalktotenants.co.uk now to secure your place at one of this year's Blueprint 3-day events, both virtual and online. Don't be the one that missed the boat. Success and failure are both very, very predictable. Take action now.